Hey team, today we're going to be talking about leadership with Mr. Bill Bray. Bill's from Virginia Beach. He's a graduate of the College of William & Mary, and he played 6 seasons of Major League Baseball with the Cincinnati Reds and the Washington Nationals. After his career ended, he transitioned and went back to school. He is in law school right now at William & Mary, and he is also an agent for professional baseball players. Bill is a definite family man. He's been married 11 years. His wife is Elaine. They have 3 girls. Laurel is 8, Allegra is 5, Madeline is 2, and they've got a little boy on the way coming in April. So exciting times ahead for the Bray family. You spent 6 years in the majors. What's some of the biggest life lessons you learned while you were a pro?
And again, this might sound strange, but probably the easier thing of once I was a professional was actually making it to the big leagues. The more difficult thing was staying there. And so continually trying to improve your skills, the league figures you out and you have to adapt your skills and continue to grow or you don't stay. And so that was probably one of the biggest things. And that's also too, just really focusing on the process, doing everything I could off the field to give me a chance to succeed on the field. Because once you step between the lines, like it's just go out there and give it 100% and deal with the effects later.
So I think a lot of us deal with that as we get to whether it's a business career or a certain rank in the Army. It's not just that's just the beginning of it. Is getting your foot in the door and then actually staying and being successful. It could be pretty tough. Speaking of tough experiences, what is the toughest experience you had as a pro that you had to deal with?
In 2009, I ended up being injured and requiring Tommy John surgery, and coming back from that injury. Everything was going great. It usually takes anywhere from 12 to 18 months to come back from that injury to where you can play again. And I was 11 months in and I had another injury. And they were talking about performing a second surgery. And at the position I was in my career at that point, that might have actually kind of ended my career. And I remember going for a run and I was just emotionally a mess, and you lean on your family and you lean on your teammates, but at the end of the day you just don't, it's hard to explain everything to everybody. And I remember I went for a run and I broke down. I got on my knees and I was crying and I just said, God, I can't do this anymore. If you want me to play baseball, I need you to do something, or if you want me to do something else, open a door and I'll walk through it. I'm done. I can't do this on my own. And the only way to explain it is God wanted me to play baseball, because 6 weeks later I was back in the major leagues.
Bill, thanks for sharing that powerful story. That really means a lot. I know that was a interesting time in your life. I want to transition now and talk about what I like to call the second chapter. Mm-hmm. For all of us in the Army, we know at some point our career is going to end and we have to change, we have to transition. And it's the same for professional athletes. Right. So how is that transition going, and how are you taking the lessons you learned as a professional athlete to becoming a law student and a sports agent?
Well, I think the transition's going pretty well. I guess about as well as it could be hoped. One of the things I've learned is that you need to have a plan before you transition out of something. So I was always
helps.
As a player, I always had ideas of wanting to be a professional agent when I was done. I didn't know it was going to take me to law school, but I knew that that's what I wanted to do. And so as my career was coming to a close in baseball and new doors were opening, having that plan and kind of knowing the path I wanted to go was a major help. But again, I'm going to come across as an emotional wreck, I guess, but there were days that overall it's been pretty good, but there were days where I felt like I was on top of the world and I knew exactly what I was doing, and the plan was going to work out perfectly. And then there were other days that it was like, oh my God, what am I doing? I put my family on hold. They've been going through law school with me. Mm-hmm. This transition, we moved, and what am I doing? But I think too, that's where you have, if you can find a good mentor that's been through it, they can say, keep going, keep battling through it. Just finding out for me that those kind of roller coaster emotions were normal made life a lot better.
Yeah. It sounds like you're a busy guy. I think you said earlier, you're the only former professional baseball player / lawyer / law student / father / husband. How do you find balance with all that you got going on?
A really good wife and somebody that I can lean on and is independent and strong enough to let me go and do the things I need to do. It just comes down to priorities. I think if you want to be successful in business and you want to have a great family life, you'll figure it out. And you'll make it work. It may just be a little less sleep. And so I think, and when I do work, I work. You know, like there's
no fooling around, no checking Facebook and all that. It's go hard.
I don't even know what Facebook is anymore. You know, football games. I haven't watched a full football game except for maybe the Super Bowl in 3 years. Same thing with basketball. I used to be a huge college hoops fan, and you know, I don't watch a ton of college hoops anymore. So there are things that you can give up, and you can find the time.
Yeah. Focus and priorities and getting that what you think is important. So you're definitely doing a great job at that. You know, as a sports agent, you work with a lot of young men, a lot of young baseball players. What's one tip you give to the aspiring athletes, you know, men and women out there? What would you tell them?
That it's hard enough to succeed in life, and especially in sports, it can be difficult to succeed, and there's enough people out there that are going to tell you that you can't do something. And so the best advice I can give is that you have to believe in yourself. Don't let somebody else tell you you can't do something. Eventually our talent all maxes out or wanes to where we can no longer play, but it's up to you to reach your full potential, and only you know what you can do, and your given ability is what God has given you. And it's up to us to reach that potential and to go for it. So you need to sell out and go for your dreams and not let somebody tell you no.
All right, we talked about some of your advice to aspiring young players. Now let's flip that, and what advice would you have to parents who have you know, young men and women who play sports?
So my advice to parents is that first and foremost to remember it's a game and that it is supposed to be fun. And then also too, and this is something that I feel like my parents really did well, is that there are going to be times when as a parent you need to push your children because you know they can grow, and with a little bit of pushing they can become a better player, a better person, and it's up to you to push them to that point where they are uncomfortable.
Yeah.
And to where they can expand and put themselves in places for success. And you hear my kids in the background now. And then at the same time, there are going to be situations where your children are going to have trouble, and there's going to be periods of difficulty in their sports careers, and you need to be that pillar of strength that actually holds them up and stops them from quitting. And I know that my parents did that for me. They pushed me just enough to keep me going, and then at other times when I felt like the whole world was caving in on me, they were there to hold me up and say, no, keep going, you can do this. And
there's no black and white answers in parenting, you know, and it's always on that spectrum. We in the Lopez house, we call it the grace and truth continuum. So sometimes the kids need a little bit of grace, they need a hug, they need encouragement. Sometimes they need a little bit of truth, like, Absolutely. Hey, you're not working hard.
I'm gonna steal that.
You got it now. Take that, and everyone out there can take it as well. But Bill, thanks for spending some time with me today, and wish you guys all the best with the upcoming little one.
Thank you.
Graduation from law school, and continue working as a sports agent. And thanks for being on Lopez on Leadership today.
No, thanks for having me.